Hi everyone,
Hello guys, how's it going?
we're back again.
Back together?
Thank you again for the comments that you're sharing with us, your experiences sometimes. We're very grateful for that.
Yes, thank you so much.
Today we want to talk about the retarded perception of twin flames.
Yep.
Might sound a little bit funny.
It sounds, I'm gonna tell you how it sounds from their perceptions. Like, are all twin flames mad? You know, like, what is going on? We will tell you in just a bit.
We want to share our experience as well, what we have come across before and after being together. Because that's the key here in the topic today.
Yes, because when before we meet our partner, we are only by ourselves. For example, I'm by myself, she's by herself, and that's it. We have our own little world inside our heads, and we need to expand this part. But until we expand it, when we meet our partner, it is a very limited perception that we have. So when we go back to how we were thinking in the past, we are, let's say, impressed, sometimes disgusted by how in the world we were thinking that way and we thought it was normal. But some of the things that we were thinking were actually amazing.
Actually, most of the things, it's just that there was something missing always. For instance, I had, let's say, perceptions about certain things, but I was always feeling that there's something more further on the background that I just cannot tap into. For one or another reason, I didn't know how to get there. It was very difficult until I met you.
We complete each other, so whatever was your weakness became your strength, and vice versa. So
I think so. We actually opened up our true potential, our highest potential, and we started using it. It takes a while until you figure out how to use it in this matrix, because we know how to use our highest potential. It's just that the matrix here changes because the rules are different, things are different, and it's almost like a blind person walking on a new street.
yep.
And because you don't know what is where, you have to figure out first. And once you are acquainted with the environment, you can go better.
Yeah. Well, by ourselves in this world, it's very difficult, and whatever we come across in our thoughts to be able to live properly, we think is the best, but it's lacking some things, some essential things. But we have some great experiences that we went through by ourselves, and when we revisited them, uh, we were like not bad in our journey alone. We just need a small push, to understand more what we are doing and stuff.
Yes. What we are actually talking about, well, it's generally the perception of everything. For instance, some things were like a mystery. It's actually a mystery to most of the people here on Earth. For example, I was very much into the pyramids and the knowledge behind them, where they came from, who built them, and all these kind of questions that everyone is interested into. I was reading and watching everything about them, and I just couldn't, feel entirely satisfied with the answers. Why, how? I just kept on feeling there is something more behind it, and I couldn't reach to it. As much as I searched, because I'm like this. This is a part of my essence. When I feel something is still more, it will bug me, and it will push me to continue searching. And sometimes I even know what sources to search. Let's say when I started living alone, I knew that I'm gonna find my new apartment through acquaintances. So I just kept on spreading the word amongst friends that I'm searching for an apartment, and indeed it came this way. I knew I'm not gonna find it in a newspaper or an ad somewhere. It would be through a friend, and it really happened. So
Yeah, she has this part of her life, and my part was that I just came out fresh, like a baby, from religious belief. So I was evangelic, like a Christian, and I just came out. I was going into some not new age, but almost, I don't know, some kind of a mixture there, and it helped me to come out of the religion. But I was always I always got stuck into the part where, about the things that the Christians they taught. I came out from there, but some things they stayed, and just like Petya, I didn't have my answers. I had to stay there to understand more about everything. And only recently, maybe 6 months or something, I got blown away by our realizations. I keep on getting blown away every year when we tap into new downloads and we take off old beliefs, we renew some others, and it's just mind blown. Sometimes, if you're not grounded enough, you don't even know what to do anymore.
yeah.
Yeah.
For instance, with my thing with the pyramids, we had the amazing opportunity to actually visit the pyramids here, which are close by us. I'm sure many of you have no clue, but the oldest ever found pyramid on Earth, and the most preserved that you can actually enter inside on the ground, is here on the Balkans. And it's the Bosnian pyramids. You can Google it, there's information about it already. They were recently discovered, and there has been quite a good amount of research already done on them, and we were lucky to visit them. That was an amazing thing for me, because I was so much into this thing. And after this visit, actually, more and more realizations started to come.
Yep. And if you don't want to research, we have a video about it. We will leave somewhere here above.
We recorded a little bit out.
If I remember, I'll put in the description or above, because it's like a small documentary, but without speaking over, and like a small guidance. Very cool information about it, about the pyramids.
It was absolutely amazing.
So some of our previous beliefs, and maybe yours as well, before you met your partner, before you expanded, some of them were like retorted, because now that you look back, you're like, what in the world was I thinking? Others became a mystery. You never knew the answer until maybe you still don't know the answer of many mysteries that it is in your journey. So you need some more time, maybe some research, you will get there, or maybe you need to find your partner. You already are with your partner probably, but perhaps, I don't know, you need to go back and revisit some things, because sometimes we need to go back and understand what we were doing, because the intuition and the instincts, they always speak at the very beginning. They stop. For example, you guys come upon something years ago about some kind of a subject, I don't know, about food or about traveling, whatever. You will never, ever again come upon a newer realization about this same subject, because the intuition and instincts already spoke to you. That's it. They can remind you in a different way, but it's not going to be the same powerful message at the very beginning. And we should not let this go to waste, because it's very important for your life.
Yeah. So your first, especially when you have met your partner at that moment, and when you started communicating, these first, sensations you had, things that you just knew deep inside of you. If you're just starting now, write them down. Don't miss this chance.
Yes.
Because later on, many times it has happened to us. We keep on expanding the knowledge on a certain topic, getting new downloads, and so on and so forth. And eventually we always come back to what we felt at the very beginning. it's like we knew that from the very beginning, like what we were searching for.
Yeah, exactly.
It was already there. But the curiosity is always within people. I think that's a part of us, a part of our how our brain is made to function here on Earth. So we just follow it and we go deeper.
For
I
example,
guess.
you guys know very well that recently we have been speaking about the lower astral, and I didn't know I was very much deep within the lower astral, and I just didn't know. I just kept on doing my thing because I thought this was the way and stuff like this. So there is things that you probably need to figure out by yourself. With your partner is better because when you are by yourself, you will always agree with yourself. We actually spoke about this in the previous video that when you're by yourself, that's it. You cannot expand anymore. You don't have someone to counter you in a healthy way to expand and update this belief that you have, to make it better, to make it stronger. You know, not to be naive. And imagine to do something that you think it's correct and it's actually a waste of time or something like that.
Yeah. We actually will have a very cool video about the lower astral coming soon. I think you're gonna like it.
Okay. I mean, I might know about it, but I just...
You know, but we just have already a few
Yes.
topics written down,
Uh-huh.
and yeah. Well, we had
Yeah.
a few other things, but I think that's
I think for now it's
yeah,
good
that
enough.
explains pretty much everything. And give us your comments,
Yes.
your ideas, suggestions, experiences. We'd love to hear.
Tell us below the biggest challenge you have had all your life and how you embraced it or figured it out, how it works or something like this. Your breakthrough, you know. Or maybe you didn't figure it out yet and maybe someone else is going to find out the answer for you. Just leave in the comments below. It's going to help not only yourself and some other people.
Yes, and sometimes other people jump in, they answer, and it becomes a very cool thread to read in the comments.
Yes.
Love you guys.
Love you guys. See you.